Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Harrison and this is Ride Informed. Today we're going to go over my Stumpjumper Evo build. I'm really excited to share this with you. Was finally able to complete the frame set build thanks to Caleb, the mechanic at Trailhead Bicycles. He stayed really late a few nights back to get this done, so thank you Caleb for that. Today we're going to go over all the components that I chose for this build and why I chose those components. If you're interested in the unique features of this frame, check out our last video where we specifically talk about the Stumpjumper Evo alloy frame set. Let's get into the build and how I spec'd this bike. So the frame is an S4. I'm about 5'9", 5'10", right in that spot where I'm in between a medium and large mountain bike. I usually prefer to size up, and I'm really happy that I went with the S4. It feels really good. I prefer a little bit more stable handling bike versus a playful bike, so I'm very happy with that S4 sizing, and it feels great for someone that's 5'9" like myself. The shock that is spec'd with the frame is the Fox Float X. It's 150 millimeters of travel. So far on the few rides I've gotten on this bike, the shock feels great. I really like it. The fork that I went with is the Marzocchi Bomber Z1. This is something I'm really excited about testing. It's 160 millimeters of travel, a 44 millimeter offset, and I'm really looking forward to trying this fork out on my local trails. If you're not aware, Fox purchased Marzocchi a few years back, and their forks share a lot of the same internals. This fork specifically is very similar to a Fox 36. It's not identical, but it shares a lot of the same components. We'll probably do a separate video on this fork after I get some more ride time with it. The drivetrain, we went with full SRAM GX Eagle. I really like SRAM GX mechanical components. I think you get a lot of the performance of their X01 or XX1 group set in terms of shift quality, and you only have to pay a slight weight penalty. So I'm really looking forward to getting some more time on the GX components. I did go with 170 millimeter crankset, SRAM cassette, GX derailleur, and GX shifter. Moving on to the wheels. These are the Roval Traverse alloy wheels. They're a pretty good mid-level trail bike wheel set. We'll see how durable they are. One thing I do like about them is the Roval hub shell has DT Swiss internals, so I can upgrade the ratchet system and have more engagement, which is something I plan on doing in the future. Since I did just purchase these wheels, I am running Cushcore XC in the rear wheel. I'm actually a pretty big Cushcore skeptic, so this will be interesting to see how I like Cushcore. Again, we'll probably do a separate video on that in the future. For tires, I'm running the Specialized Eliminator tan sidewall grid trail casing rear tire, and in the front, I'm running the Specialized Butcher in a 2.3 tan sidewall grid trail casing. I'm a big fan of Specialized tires. I think you get a lot of the performance of Maxxis tires, but they are a little bit more affordable, and I've had really good luck with them. If you're familiar with Maxxis tires, the Butcher is like a DHF, and the Eliminator is kind of like a DHR mixed with the Dissector. So really good tire combo, and I'm excited to try these tires out. The dropper post is an X-Fusion Manic, 170 millimeter travel dropper. The X-Fusion Manic is a great post. It's very reliable. I think it's the best dropper post for under $250. I'm running a Specialized Bridge saddle in the 155 millimeter width. For the brakes, I went with XT 4-piston brakes. I really like Shimano brakes because they use mineral oil, and the bleed process is pretty straightforward with Shimano brakes. I do like the feel of SRAM brakes, but I just feel like Shimano brakes are a little bit more reliable. We're running a SRAM 203 millimeter centerline rotor on the front and 180 millimeter SRAM centerline rotor on the rear. I went with SRAM rotors just because that's what we had available, and they seem to be working just fine with the Shimano brakes. For the cockpit of this bike, I went with the 1-Up carbon handlebars in a 20mm rise. These bars have been a standout feature of the bike after I've gotten a couple rides on it. They are extremely compliant. I think they're the most comfortable carbon bars I've ever ridden, which is saying a lot. I really didn't think I would feel a difference between these and other carbon bars I've tried, but they really are extremely comfortable. I've cut them down to 780 millimeters. I may even go shorter and cut them down to 760, but I'll try them at this width for a while. We've got ODI grips, a race face 40mm stem. I went with the shorter stem. Obviously I sized up to an S4, so I wanted to bring that reach in, and it feels really good. So far I've gotten a few rides on this bike. I've ridden on my local trails. I've also taken it to our local bike park, Shepherd Mountain. And I've been really impressed with this bike. I'm not gonna do a review yet. I wanna spend more time on the bike and do a lot more rides before I come out with a review, but I've been really happy with the build. I'm really looking forward to riding this bike this year, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this build. If you have any questions about the components I chose or the frame in general, feel free to leave a comment. I will definitely respond. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed this information. Thanks for tuning in. This is Ride Informed.